Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope you're all well. It is October 15th, the day after the solar eclipse, which I think is super powerful. And I say that because we're getting to start to absorb the energies. I just want to adjust myself a little bit. I'm feeling a little in the wrong spot here. Let me see what I can do to fix this camera a little bit. Excuse me. Okay, maybe I should sit on this side. I don't know if you can see Lucky laying on the top of the couch. Anyway, all right. So welcome, everybody. Good morning, Blom. Is it Blaumello 15? Nice to see you here. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things here. Oh, thank you. I was listening to astrologers. I always listen to other astrologers because I find their viewpoints fascinating. And there's some terminology that I've started to have a little bit of a wobble with, because when I hear people say the astrology is asking us and the planets are, forcing us to do things, it very much rubs up against me in a very disempowering and weird human way. So I want to offer it this because I entitled this video, Pluto is making continual aspects to the nodes. Oh, I'm so excited you did. Thank you so much. I want to bring up this because, there is nothing happening to us. The planets and their movements and their aspects and how we as humans interpret those aspects is no different than the weather. It's no different than a rainstorm, a sunny day, a cloudy day. And your perception of how you walk through a cloudy day, a sunny day, a day out in the desert, a day by the shore. This is what is being offered to us. We are having what is termed, Pluto creating disruption, Pluto representing death and rebirth. Without Pluto's influence in our lives, we would never be able to anchor in our own awareness. And I use the word awareness rather than growth, rather than evolution, rather than anything that elevates us. We are in a place where our awareness, our intentional choices, our ability to look at the things that have given us pause or triggered our fears or triggered our historic behaviors and patterns of belief. We cannot actually shift those patterns unless we walk through an experience. And the experience may appear to be distasteful or unpleasant. This is why I call it divine disruption, because without divine disruption, you will never experience your awareness. You'll never experience your conscious choices. You'll never experience yourself being aware of a historic pattern and then choosing a pattern that aligns more to what will bring you happiness. I'm so fascinated by verbiage, because when we listen to the subtleties of verbiage, we can see anchors or we can see wings. And that is what Pluto offers us, because on at the very base of Pluto's energy. So let's talk about Scorpio for a minute, because Scorpio rules money. It rules other people's money. It rules power and control. It rules sex. How do people have power over other people? Through money, through sex, through, in many ways, stoking our fears. So when we feel insecure and we find somebody who provides security, oftentimes humans will overlook some of the imbalances that are actually tethering us to a version of ourselves that doesn't feel empowered. So as Pluto has walked through the Scorpio-Taurus axis and now is walking through, Pluto is in Capricorn, representing the human structure. The nodes, I hope I said that properly, we're going through the Scorpio-Taurus axis, and now they have moved into the Aries-Libra axis, still creating tension to Pluto. Because Pluto is offering you an opportunity to empower yourself, to be aware of old patterns, the South Node, and rather than villainizing yourself or judging yourself or creating a dynamic where you have to do something, you need to do something, you should do something, all of those words are disempowering. You get to do something because it feels pleasant to you. And if that get to is attached to an experience that initially or historically is felt unpleasant, your awareness that you can make other choices. And the choices are these. I do not have to convince you of my point of view. I do not have to tell you everything I'm thinking. I do not have to feel a certain way because another person is dictating it. It's all get tos, want tos, opportunities. And if for some reason you're finding yourself in a wobble, in an energy where you're being asked to do things you don't want to do, this is an opportunity to illuminate and to nurture new dynamics, new ways of being. You may notice, and I don't know if you will, I've tried to set it up where you can't see them, but I have pink Post-it notes all over my house. You guys know I went through this mini renovation, which I'm very excited about. And at the same time, the workmanship was done at a standard that I would call grammar school. And so tomorrow, and for the next 2 days, I will have workmen descending upon my home to fix these things. I say this because my Aryan nature, ruled by Mars, wants to point out every flaw. Look at this crappy workmanship. Look at how sloppy this is. And I now am aware that if I use the words crappy workmanship, sloppy a work dynamic, I'm going to trigger those guys into thinking I'm an ass, okay? Or I'm a bitch. So what I'm going to do is focus in on this gets to be fixed or this gets to be repaired rather than putting the blame on another human. This is Teri getting to exercise her awareness, realizing that if I want people to help me, villainizing them isn't going to get their engagement, and walking through a situation that I find distasteful, and yet it is illuminating my own evolution and my own awareness. This is what I want to offer my audience. This is what the stars are offering you. They are not pounding on you. They're not trying to ruin your life or make you feel. Exactly, that too, Queen Leo. That is always on the books. But this is really an opportunity to see that what appears to be distasteful is an opportunity to illuminate your own power and your own ability to co-create at such a level that feels almost as if calling forth some of these challenging experiences is an exciting thing. Because as you walk through them with your awareness, with your light turned on, then when something comes at you that most of the time would have pulled you under, triggered you, sent you through some sort of doubt, feeling defeated, you have a whole new opportunity to choose your perspective. And what do we do in astrology? We talk about our rising sign. The rising sign is the sign of the self. It is the sign of how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive ourselves moving forward in the world. When I was a young girl, you guys know I'm a Libra sun, and my Aries rising was so strong as a child that when I would read about Libra, I would laugh. I'd be like, I'm not indecisive. I'm not overly accommodating. I'm very decisive and I'm very much about me. So as I started to get older and understand that what the rising sign meant, it made perfect sense to me. So I want to offer you this because this eclipse that we just had at 21 degrees of Libra was conjunct Spica, the voice of angels. 3/4, if not 90% of your being energy is not incarnated into the human vessel that you walk through right now. It is outside of yourself, holding space in the angelic realm for your empowerment, for your co-creation, for your happiness, for your joy. And even those distasteful moments, that divine disruption, can lead to great moments of empowerment and joy and celebration as you have, quote unquote, conquered the beast within. So I really want to offer this because as we walk through this month of October, which is pivotal, and this eclipse offered us a new beginning, a partnership with ourselves that is fostering peace, harmony, diplomacy, cooperation with the deeper part of me that then gets to express itself. The North Node in Aries, the South Node conjunct that eclipse. Because I really want you to start to be aware of your verbiage. And when you use the words, I have to, I should, I need to, they're very dense. They're words that don't feel as if they foster joy. And when you say, I get to do my laundry, I get to clean my house, I get to shoot a video, then it becomes an opportunity and there's an energy of fun and excitement. And that, while all energies kick in the laws of attraction, that fun and that excitement creates a momentum that, with your awareness and choice of verbiage, vibration, the words that you speak create a vibration in a harmonic universe. So when you vibrate in a, it's not happening for me, it's not working for me, this always happens to me, oh me, oh my, the universe does not judge. It just aligns to that vibration. So I really want to offer this because Pluto is your friend, your best friend. I know it doesn't feel that way sometimes. I know it can feel very challenging. It's very intense. It's very brooding. I have a neighbor who is born 2 weeks after me. So while I'm a late Libra, he's an early Scorpio. And he went off the other day. He's screaming at his girlfriend, and the whole building could hear it, to the point where we stopped, like, should we call the police, kind of yelling. And it made me curious. So I decided to go into my own chart and see what the transits were 2 weeks after my birth. And I saw his sun and his Mars conjunct. And I realized, this is why he's the way he is. Because there's a lot of things that you can garnish through astrology that can provide answers or provide a sense of comfort during disruption. And I would like to offer that to you as my audience and as my subscribers, to start to really look at these transits as opportunities. And if they appear to be challenging from a human perspective, it is the divinity within you that has decided to walk through that challenge so you could experience the power of yourself in the physical. And that represents and is of service to so many others on the planet. So I really want to bring that into your awareness. CC Pups, I love that comment, because when you believe that somebody wants to help you, even if they mess up ahead of time, that does help. And this is one of the things that, as an intuitive, I did not realize, because I've been this way my whole life, and it could be my Mercury in Scorpio and Neptune in Scorpio. I used to think people were bullshitting me. Honestly, I was like, oh, people are just pretending to be dumb. They're not really dumb. They're just faking it. So it took me a long time, not to say they're dumb, but they are innocent in whatever. Because what I've come to realize, I can literally walk around my apartment and see two different energies in how the painting was done. One was very methodical and actually did a good job. The other was sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. And I keep thinking they were on a time frame. So what happened is, if they wanted to be more methodical or clear with their work, the time was getting to them. So in any case, that's neither here nor there. Things will be rectified. So I want to offer this to you because as we walk, eclipses have, we call them fated events, but the fated point is the choice that they will present. Is how will you respond to the events outside of yourself? And in that response, will you empower yourself or will you disempower yourself? So That's where I'm going. Yeah, that's my new word. I'm reframing things. I'm being aware versus I'm really sensitive lately to words that infer judgment. So when I'm being positive, oh, I'm a good girl. When I'm being negative, I'm a bad girl. I don't like these words anymore. So I prefer awareness and lack of awareness, or just things such as that. That's the way I'm going. All right. Oh, I'm telling you, so many things are going on too. I don't even want to really talk about it because it could trigger some of the more warrior energies in me. But I keep owning this experience because I think I told you guys last week that when I had 3 different workmen that I could have engaged as my help. 2 of them I didn't know, they were referrals, and the one that I ended up choosing was the property management representative. And when I pulled tarot cards on all 3, the first 2 got minor arcana cards, pretty benevolent cards. And then the management person got the devil, the Capricorn energy. And I ended up choosing that almost unconsciously. And I say that because in hindsight, I believe that this is offering me an opportunity to reframe my way of being in this genre, where I have felt the property management was really the black hat to my white hat. So I'm trying to be aware of that so I can reframe that. Stephen, it's good to see you back in the room. We've missed you. Thank you for loving the accent wall. Let me let you all see. Can you see Lucky sleeping on the edge of the couch? Lucky, put your head up. Lucky. Oh, he's sleeping. I'll tell you, ever since we got home from that hotel, he sleeps like a little boy, so soundly, safe in his home. Okay, so that's what I want to say about the aspects. I really just wanted to focus in on Pluto. Not a lot actually has shifted. This month, a lot of the planets are in their shadow period. They're kind of anchoring in. We're still experiencing quite a few retrogrades, and Mars has moved into Scorpio, which is its original lord of the house, and can create and kick up a little bit of dust there. But as an aware tribe that we are, whatever dust is kicked up will give us more resources and more faith and security as we move forward with our intentions. All right, here we go. I'm going to start with my Libras. Happy birthday, Libras. If your birthday is this week, happy birthday. We're coming to the end of the Libra cycle. And you will, if your birthday is this week, more than likely having your sun squaring Pluto in these last degrees of Capricorn. And of course, this has been going on for quite some time, offering all of the cardinal signs opportunities to become aware of their way of being, aware of how they want to show up, and where they're, sometimes our power lies in not reacting to a situation, but taking a pause and allowing the universe to illuminate a path. And I think that's part of what we've been experiencing. So as we experience the cardinal signs, and of course, the other signs are experiencing it. Lots of you are experiencing it in sextile. Some of you are experiencing Capricorn in trine. So as we're coming to these last degrees, this is an opportunity to really master. And the mastery is not perfection. The mastery is being able to go up and down the roller coaster ride of awareness and unawareness without judgment, without criticism, just using it as pieces of information. Okay, so let's go on to our readings this week. I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea. I'll tell you something else before I start. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Barbara O'Neill. She's from Australia, and she's all over TikTok. I'm not on Instagram or Facebook anymore, and I really find her fascinating. And she has something called the flu bomb. And last week, literally, I walked by a woman on the sidewalk, and she sneezed, and I felt the cloud of her sneeze cootie-eyes me, and with all the stress, I've been sleepless nights from the wrestling my own patterns, I caught a wee bit of a cold. And while I'm still kind of at the end of the cold, I did her flu bomb. And one of the, not only did I do the flu bomb, I also did this thing where you put onion on the bottom of your feet. I chopped up some red onion. I put it in a plastic bag, like when you go to the market and you buy your fruits, you put it in the little bag. And I tied it up and I put a sock over my feet. This was so amazing. And I'll tell you, not just for reducing the congestion, but actually making my feet feel better, as if somehow it was detoxifying the joints in my feet. So I don't know if any of you, it stunk like high heaven in this house. I'm not going to say it didn't. It was like an onion farm. I did it actually a week ago. It was Sunday night. I've done it a couple times, but the first time I did it was a week ago, Sunday night. And the workmen came on Monday. And I had actually called in sick on them. And when they walked in my house, the whole house stunk. But I felt so much better. And I continued on that journey. So it only took about 2 days for the real more irritating symptoms to subside. And then just sort of this lingering stuff. So if you guys are wanting to get some good information on your health, I think Barbara's a real asset. Okay, Stephen, you went to see your dad. Oh, you went back to New York. I'm glad you had a good time. All right. Okay, so let's start with our Libras and work our way around the Zodiac. Yes, that's a very, and actually, Queen Leo, that's exactly what Barbara says, that if you get a fever, it's actually super good for your body, and your body's doing exactly what it was meant to do as it's healing. I am lucky enough to be of an age where my grandmother did have lots of home remedies. I remember them putting something on the stove when I would get an earache. Maybe it was the onion. I don't really remember as a child. And my grandmother dripping something in my ear and rubbing, Vicks Vapor Rub on my chest. Is just, warms my heart. All right. So let's go on. I keep threatening to say it's Libra, but here we go. Our tarot card for our birthday people. Okay. The Devil. This is a Capricorn energy. I just got done talking about squaring Libra right now. So I want to offer it this way, because when we look very, very closely at this card, the characters, the people that are chained to the Devil are actually not chained to the Devil, but to some sort of block. See this, whatever this is, almost like some sort of post. And then they could easily remove these chains if they could have the thought to do so. So more often than not, this Devil card represents a looming fear of repercussions, a looming fear of loss, a looming fear of being tied to something that I'm not actually tied to. So this feels on some level, when I look at it, while it represents a sign of Capricorn, it feels very Plutonian, because Scorpio and Pluto, it is the psychology of our fears that tethers us to and gives our power to others. It's never, very rarely, yes, there are cases where the criminal comes in, steals your body, chains your body to some basement post, and does terrible things to you. Those are all possible. But in the average everyday world, we are really tethered to our fears, and it is our fears that keep us from pursuing some of the things, or the fears of that turn into obligations. I can't because my child needs this. I can't because my parent needs that. I can't because I need to pay my bills. So here somewhere, Libra is getting an opportunity to be the lived versus this card, because Devil backwards is lived. So let's see what Spirit wants to know, because again, here is this solar eclipse yesterday in the sign of Libra at the Sagittarian degree, which is about my beliefs, 2 degrees from the fixed star Spica, which offers expansion, wealth, and great material benefit as we align to our angelic team, to the part of us that sits outside of us, that knows that these disruptions that we experience are there divinely divinely implemented for us to make aware choices. All right, here we go. Susan, I love that so many people are responding to that you're aware of this onion stuff, because I think part of what we're starting to do is come back into this awareness so that we can allow our bodies to start to do what they're naturally designed to do. All right, Libra, our first angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage. What does Libra represent? Partnership. The second is Francesca. What will you visualize? Negativity blocks your progress. Akasha is the teacher. And finally, Crystal is about the inner voice versus the outer eyes. Daniel is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. Francesca is being joined by the bee. Akasha is being joined by Merlin. And Crystal is being joined by the truth card. I'm very excited right now to experience this nodal access with the South Node transiting through what will be, it's already gone by my Mars. It's on my Sun right now, pretty much. My Sun's at 23 degrees. The South Node's at 24 degrees. I say this because while we often think of the South Node as an erosive point, as a point of karmic history, as a point of habit, of belief, at this time, I believe that the South Node is asking the Libra energy to be egoless in its willingness to give away its power. You know, Libra is about cooperation. Libra is about partnership. But what we forget about is Libra is also about impartial judgment. It's about fairness. It rules attorneys and it rules civic-minded things. So in order to really have peace and harmony, there is an understanding of the ebb and the flow of what we perceive as good experiences and challenging experiences. So where I'm going with this is this card here, which represents structures, it represents fears, it represents depression, is also offering you a rebirth as you are aware of your history in partnership. And are you in partnership with yourself while you are in communion with another human structure? Because whether we realize it or not, there's an exchange of energy within each human interaction. And the more, it's almost like a conjunction. The closer you are to another human, let's say your orb and you're in a partnership, then you're in a conjunction with maybe an exact I'm making sort of a joke about it, but I'm looking at this as you infuse your energy with another when you start to commingle it. And if you have sexual relationships with another human, you're absolutely like in an exact conjunction with them at that time. And there's not just the exchange of bodily fluids, but of vibration and frequency. So here, Libra, Daniel is really talking about your historic vibration in relationship to others. And if you've been giving up your power in relationships or being overly accommodating or being overly cooperative to the point where you're not being seen or heard, that South Node is really calling forth an opportunity to be egoless, how the other person responds as you start to self-care or become aware of your own needs, and then work or I hate the word work, in an awareness of your own needs, start to take the steps to fulfill those needs. Because Francesca, in your opportunity or obstacle, is talking about negativity, and yet your being energy is offering you victory and good luck. So this is what I want to say about positive and negative. They're really resistant energies, okay? So when you go, I'm going to be positive, it means that you're negative about something and you're resisting that negativity, trying to pretend to be positive, which is like gasoline on a fire. So for me, rather than trying to resist the negativity, my awareness is I feel like I'm having a pissy party about this. Where can I go? What perspective can I take to create a tool for myself, to chisel out a wisdom for myself during this particular time? Because in the angel's advice, Libra, is Akasha, the teacher. And the teacher is really offering you true balance, because most Libras, while they represent balance, don't actually live balance because they don't Well, I shouldn't generalize, but oftentimes the Libra energy is so accommodating that it doesn't really put itself in the mix. So, where I'm going with this is that's why the North Node is in Aries right now, making yourself important. And the North Node is, traveling with Eris, and it's going to, talk to Chiron. It's really very powerful because the North Node is an energy we stretch for that is unfamiliar. It's one that we have experienced either at a minimal rate, if we're lucky enough to experience, and oftentimes we haven't experienced it at all, because Crystal is saying have faith and hope there's more on the horizon as you allow your deeper truth to surface. And I suspect that your deeper truth may bring some fears, may bring a feeling of restriction. And yet here you're being offered a rebirth as you realign your perception to the experience. I think this is really powerful. And remind me of this when the workmen come tomorrow and I'm feeling totally disruptive energy all around me, because I have nowhere to go to hide from them, except my bedroom with the dog and the door shut. Okay, we're going to go on to our Scorpios. Whoops. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All righty. Okay, the Eight of Pentacles. This is a very, very powerful card because we've already amassed something in the material world. Now we're going back and we're fine-tuning things. This is what this character appears to be, quite a craftsman here. And while he is aware that he's got work to do, he seems, for some reason to me, to be at ease with the pace because he really wants to pay attention to the details. So here's what is sitting before him. This is what he's finished, and this is what he's working on. Now, the 8 is a number of what I consider abundance. The numbers 8 are numbers of prosperity. It's also that number of transformation, because as we become, because this could very well be for Scorpio, are you looking at the details of your own psychological makeup? And while you may have experienced some of it, there may be fine-tuning going on here. Let's see. Because any late degree Scorpios are going to have Pluto sextiling their sun or their rising or their moon or whatever, any other planets. And I think that this is, again, important because the sextile is a favorable supportive dynamic for the transformation. Our first angel is Azure. Your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Don't try to force it. And a little bit of Scorpio can assert themselves. We have Shanti, the angel of peace. We have Aurora saying that you're flying high right now. And then we have Grace and Antoinette. You know, what I think is one of the challenging things about Scorpio is that when they're young or when they're still in their human awareness versus their more deep psychological, knowing their Scorpio-ness at a higher vibration. I kind of look at Scorpio as, there's two sides. We have the scorpion that can sting you, but then we also have the totem of the eagle, which can rise above a situation and see it more clearly, is the way I want to put it. It's also, the eagle represents the connection to the angelic realm. So for me, Scorpio is very powerful. So Azure is being joined by the Baird, which is talking about your history. Merlin is showing us again some alchemy, some justice and balance. We have Aurora being joined by the dog, which is about unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And then we have Grace and Antoinette being joined by the Joy card. Okay, the human experience is fabulously flawed. You will never reach a destination of some sort of cloud where everything is kumbaya all the time. You wouldn't even like it if it was like that. So what I want to offer is, I believe that my Scorpios are going through an energy of awareness where their history is now becoming a tool that they can sharpen to use to create the life they want. Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. You don't have to force the issue. And here is the history where in the past you may felt like you needed to micromanage something or you needed to pay attention to it. And now your awareness is that you are a receiver, that when you put your intention out into the universe and then you speak of your intention and you know you've passed that baton to the universe, then you are now awaiting your next inspired action, because Shanti is offering you a new road of peace and tranquility. And Merlin, the grand wizard, to me feels like balance for you, an understanding. When I think of the Scorpio energy, and I think of it like really just in the human construct, it's very focused on it rules other people's money. So it rules stockbrokers and bankers and financiers. And on either side of the fence, where you're the person that gave the money to someone to run, or you're the person running the money, there can be a lot of tension and underlined stress in the house of Scorpio, because it's very transformational. It's where the human experiences physical death and how that changes us and moves us into Sagittarius energy, where we connect to the angelic realm. So here, I believe that my Scorpios, especially the ones that are listening to this kind of information and walking a path of awareness, are going to feel a sense of tranquility and knowing that their power does not come from trying to push another human, but rather the ebb and the flow of, taking your foot off the gas, putting your foot on the gas. Because here in the angel's advice is saying, you're flying high right now, don't descend. And that would be into that more brooding, intense energy. And because you will soon inspire others and garnish their loyalty. This is where you become a true powerful leader. And this is where I love the Scorpio energy so much. Look, I'm not a fan of dealing with Scorpios that are, walking in an unconsciousness, because they can be very challenging. Hence, somebody that lives in my building with Mars conjunct his sun in Scorpio. So anyway, because at the end of the day, I think that you're getting a sense of compassion. I think that my Scorpios, especially my Scorpio moons, are becoming more aware of the psychology of what a human is. And in their compassion for that fraught and frail dynamic, they're experiencing more joy in their own power. Their power of, I don't need to push. I see the fine details of the situation. And now I'm a master of allowing the universe to inspire me into my next action. And I will stand in that action in peace and in leadership. Okay. Here we go onto our Sagittarius rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And, I just want to kind of emphasize, I'm a big moon girl. I believe that humans manifest on their emotional body. So I believe your moon sign is pretty darn powerful, the most powerful, really. While the rising is very powerful, they're pretty much on a par. If someone held my feet to the fire, I'd put that moon at the top. Because as an Aries rising and a Taurus moon, I know that my moon trumps my rising sign. I know that I see myself sometimes get stuck in my history. My moon is in Placidus in the first house, in whole sign in the second house, and in either house, I am personally, my perception has been molded by my confidence that was molded by my family dynamic. And so I think that moon is so powerful. So if you don't know your moon sign, I really suggest that you go to one of those websites, there's millions of them, and figure that out. All right, Sagittarius. Lots of choices coming up. And I want to offer it this way, because while we go and we do these on a weekly basis, I think that this could be a little bit of a eclipse dynamic right now, where the influence will easily last a month up to 6 months, because this, to me, this 7 is they're the choices that lay before me all have a bit of a challenge attached. So, it's sort of like I always focus on the cup that has the victory wreath and then this skull, because in order to win war, people must die. So there's a feeling of whatever choice I make, something is going to be a divine disruption could be attached. Let's look and see where we're going. It's also, I want to mention that the character at the bottom who's contemplating these choices, because if you look at all these choices are on some sort of ethereal level. They're in the mind. They're not in the material yet. They're in the emotional. The character himself is shrouded in gray and darkness because he cannot look to the outside. He gets to, pardon me, I said the word must. He gets to dig deeper into an intuitive energy. What does my inner voice say versus what my eyes see, my nose smells, my ears hear? All right. Our first angel is Aurora for our Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Then we have Akasha, the teacher. Then we have Francesca. It's all the same cards in different order. How interesting is that? And finally, Shanti, the angel of peace. So Aurora talks about flying high, which is may threaten others. And this very much could be that whatever choice you're making, there may be other people who have a differing viewpoint, or have concerns or trepidations about your choices. And yet Akasha, the teacher, is really, experience teaches, words don't teach. And when we trust our inner voice versus our outer ears, and we walk that path, those that are around us who were in fear can actually experience a very uplifting experience that changes them. Aurora is being joined by the serpent, which represents knowledge and healing. Akasha is being joined by the stag. Francesca is being joined by the frog, and Shanti is being joined by the wind fairy. This is really very powerful because, when we think about the idea of Sagittarius, about Jupiter expansion. Jupiter is broad-minded things. They're things that are really, it's all about diversity and cultural acceptance, and sort of a natural way of being is looking at the world from a place of curiosity and learning versus you have to be like me in order to be right. Because Aurora is saying you're flying high right now, that don't descend. And I do believe that right now there's a part of me that wants to go to the knowledge aspect, that Sagittarius is integrating the knowledge that they have gained through the chapters, through your fool's journey in this lifetime. And as that has come together in a way, I almost want to use the word coagulate, as if, oh, wow, oh my goodness, because Akasha, the teacher, and the stag here is one of leadership. Now, the flip side, God bless my Sagittarius, is Jupiter can be a little bit Mr. Know-it-all. So here, I think this is really about standing in leadership for other people's learning, not about trying to teach them, but instead setting the example by your own choices, by the choices you make from your intuitive knowing versus your mind. Because in the angel's advice, the frog offers a release of emotional baggage because there's an awareness of the duplicity, the negativity versus the positivity, or the possibilities. Again, here, negativity, positivity. So here, somewhere Sagittarius is it almost has a weird Gemini feeling, like I'm looking at two sides of a situation and both of them do not please me, or they do not fulfill the answer I'm looking for. And now I go here into my heart. And that is where I start to feel the peace and the tranquility of my mind. And I want to offer it this way because now I feel like I'm just aware that my mind is a muscle. My mind is a muscle that has been imprinted from the time that I came into this physical experience. And so with the knowledge that my mind is an imprinted vessel, I can't wrestle all my thoughts. I can't sit in meditation and be completely void of thoughts. It's not logical. So now I feel a sense of peace about it. Oh, that's how that rolls. I'll tell you, I think this is fabulous because Sagittarius, it really feels like um, a relief of some kind, almost as if you were trying to come to a decision, looking at all the things in your life. And now you realize that the decision is really one that comes from your heart. And now you get to have the universe align with that inner knowing, that inner heart desire, and start to present to you in the outside world the inspirations of action that take you towards that end goal. Yep. Okay. I thought there was one more thing, but I think that's it. Okay. Hi, Audacity Theater. Good to see you. I'm glad you were able to join us. I enjoyed your reading yesterday or Friday, whatever day that was. I hope you got my email. Okay. On to our Capricorns, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our tarot card is the Five of Wands. Now, this is such a fun card because when I first started to learn spiritual tools, I really tried to learn them like my Venus and Virgo, right? What do they mean, and how do I take their meaning and apply it to my life? And then I started to listen to John Edward. And I realized that John Edward used his experiences rather than what he had been taught to get information from spirit. So when I started looking at the Five of Wands, I started to realize this is not a card of competition. They're not fighting. They're just awkward. Look at these guys. They're all holding their wands in the most awkward way. They're not trying to hit each other. They're not trying to outrun, outplay, outwit, outlast. They're all just standing around like the bad news bears. So let's see where we're going, Capricorn, because this could be this new way of being for you. You're still feeling slightly awkward. You know, as Pluto's gone through the house of your sun and the house of yourself and the house of your moon, it's been rewriting your perception of your life, rewriting how you project yourself out into the world, your sun, how you feel about yourself. So this may initially feel awkward, as all shifts do. And yet I feel the conqueror inside of Capricorn. I feel your tenacity. All right. Our first angel is Merlina. The second is Aurora again. Then we have Athena. And then we have Francesca. I always think it's funny when the same cards come out. We have the communications card joining Merlina. We have Aurora being joined by the partnership card. Athena being joined by the horse. And Francesca being joined by the owl. You know, as I look at this, I feel as if my Capricorns are kind of like almost, I almost feel like I'm standing at the fork of a road, right? And here I see, the structure of my life, the structure of my job, the structure of my family, the structure of my personal government in the country that I live in and all that stuff. And then here's this other path that I've been traversing. When I go to the left, I feel a little bit like the old goat. When I go to the right, I feel a little bit like I'm prancing down a new avenue. And I feel like that's why I'm seeing this Five of Wands as awkward. Fives represent an independence, in some ways a liberation of things. And here we see the communications card is a 41, which reduces down to a 5. So I think for my Capricorns, you're still getting used to the magic of your communications. Merlina in the angel deck can represent confusion, but I'm never going to look at a wizard and see confusion. What I'm going to see is an ability to create magic, an awareness of the divine laws of the universe and how I play with them in a way that offers me an opportunity to manifest. So here, I think Capricorn is practicing their new way of being. And where you have traditionally worked hard and endured and just kind of suffered silently when you were too exhausted, but you got up and you went there and you did it anyway. Now I think you're starting to like sort of go through this place of, how can I take these thoughts in my mind and plant them into the material world? How can I start to really feel my own inspirations with ease versus with a sense of awkwardness? And that awkwardness would be like, oh, I want to go do this, but I'm supposed to do that, and I have to do this, and I must do that. Capricorn's got a lot of those words attached to its energy because it's ruled by human structure and authority. So here, now, in your opportunity or your obstacle is Aurora saying you're flying high right now. Don't descend, because you'll soon inspire others. And this partnership card feels very much like yesterday's eclipse, where you're coming into partnership with the divine voice inside. That's why I think that this particular eclipse, this particular aspect in 2023 happening at the time of harvest, at the time when we go into this energy of harvesting all that we have nurtured and tended to over this year. This is a 7-year where we've been asked by ourselves to be more introspective about our true wants and desires and to stand in balance for them. So here, this is what I believe Capricorn has been fostering and nurturing throughout the year. And now I see in the angel's advice, Athena saying you can lovingly assert yourself into your new beliefs, into your new way of being. I see this very much as a Sagittarian energy, as taking these higher levels of education. And this might even be the education of all the tools the universe has, peppered and seasoned on this planet for us to use and to play with. Because here, Francesca talks about how do you view things? And Capricorn traditionally views them from a point of obligation, leadership, duty. And here the owl is going back and forth. And is this truly the wisest thing, is to go towards somebody in a sense of duty? Or do you have an opportunity to, while you're still practicing it, walk from a place of inspired action? And is that not the greatest leadership you could potentially foster for others? So I think that this is a period of time that, as Pluto is going through these mastering degrees, 27, 28, 29, 27 is the Gemini degree of the mind, of how I learn, how I teach, how I speak. And these short bits of information, that are they really serving me, or are they inflaming my fears? Then I go into that Cancerian energy as Pluto moves to the 28th degree, which will take a little while, because I think Pluto is going to stay at 27 degrees for the rest of the month. And as I go into that 28th degree, I'm not only seeing the 28 reduced down to a 10, which is the number of 1, which represents my thoughts, but also, am I number 1? Are my thoughts aligned to my own importance and my own happiness? And then as I go into that 29th degree, before we move into January and Pluto moves into Aquarius, that's an opportunity to master my heart, my courage. And the mastery is not about a destination. It's about a continued awareness as I go up and down the roller coaster ride that is known as the human experience. Okay. On to our Aquariuses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. He's still asleep. That whole side of my couch dense. It's so cute. All right, Aquarius. Ooh, love it. We have the Emperor. This has the Aries energy all over it. And this is when I look at this, I very much think that if we look closely, the Emperor has a heart. Yes, it looks upside down, but I think this is very much about coming from his heart, about what he wants for himself. We see this very fiery energies of the colors of the card representing inspired action. Now, Mars, the ruling planet of Aries, has moved into Scorpio. And I know we're on Aquarius, but there could be where, and we'll see what the angels have to say, but this could very much indicate an opportunity for Aquarius to stand in leadership for what their wants and desires are, and to actually look deeper into their heart. You know, Aquarius rules the 11th house, which is very much about futuristic things. It's about future technologies, about innovation, about science, about the collective. And on some level, while there's a strong pull to create more harmony and peace and upliftment in the Aquarian energy, it's usually for the masses, for the collective consciousness versus the individual. Now, this emperor is all about the individual. So, you know, your ability to help others is directly related to your ability to self-nurture, to stand for what is important to you, for your passions and for your desires. Let's see where we're going with this. Okay, Aquarius, our first angel is Chantal, the angel of romance. The second is Bethany, the angel of self-care. The third is Indrio, the light worker. And the final is Mystique. Now, you know, if we think Aquarius rising, that makes Leo your 7th house. And, you know, there's been a lot of action going on. I believe that Venus has left Virgo now. Pretty sure she has. I'm sorry, left Leo for Virgo, but you know, we had that 4-month retrograde. So, let's see. Whoop. Oh my goodness. Keep dropping the cards. All right, Aquarius. Chantal, the angel of romance, is being joined by the novice, new beginnings. Bethany is being joined by the horse. Indriel is being joined by the high priestess. And Mystique is being joined by the truth. I find this very, there he goes. Can you see him? He's waking. He's about to make mess on my couch. Okay. I got to say this because as I look at this for Aquarius, I very much think that you're revisiting your romantic dynamic, the romantic relationships, lack thereof for romantic relationships, any partnerships, the way you enjoy yourself, the way you enjoy entertainment, playtime, all that Leo energy is somehow coming into play for me, because when I look at this, I feel like Aquarius, this is really that pioneering spirit of Aries. This is about a new beginning in romance that is more aligned to the truth of what makes you happy. And if for some reason up until now you haven't put yourself in the mix, you know, you've got other people who you're responsible to, or your love life has been, you know, like a desert, it really I don't really think that the dynamics that have been are what's going on, but the willingness to be brave in the future, moving forward. What do you want in the way of relationships? And I want to offer this too, because Aquarius is super individualistic. So while your Aquarius is your first house, and your partnership house is Leo, it makes Gemini your 5th house. And it just all of a sudden, I got this feeling that for my Aquariuses, this is sort of about allowing for a new beginning. If you've had any angers, any resentments, any old stories that are sad and, you know, don't really match what you want to experience, this is very much an opportunity to use that as a piece of information to move your story forward. Because Chantal absolutely talks about romance, and romance being imminent and a new beginning being offered. Then we have Bethany, which is all about you, Aquarius. And here I'm going to go back to this Sagittarian idea. What do you believe and what do you want in relationships? Because when you're in a partnership with someone, it doesn't mean you have to be Velcroed to that person. I've always said that a really healthy relationship is two me's that become a we. So each person has their own individual interests, but yet they can be shared. And yet there's still this opportunity for that individual expression, because the Leo energy really wants to express itself in partnership here with the Aquarian energy, because feels like I'm doubling down on the angelic realm. I'm going to be inspired by something that spirit is going to bring into my material experience, and my job is to stay in my heart chakra. I know that this is traditionally a card where I talk about intuition, but I think it's about discernment from the heart. Recently, this card, her boobies are become very prevalent to me, like they've been pushed out. Then I see that crow or raven squawking, and I feel it's like, come from your heart, come from your heart. What do you want? What do you need? What do you require in relationships? Because if for some reason Aquarius is not feeling fulfilled, keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions. And there's my truth card. Because what I believe is that as this emperor is offering a sense of leadership, it's very much offering a sense of a pioneering spirit, a bravery within my relationships to allow myself to experience something that's more authentic potentially than where I have potentially been before. When we're young, and if you really think about when you were in high school and the relationships you had in high school, I bet you would find out that you cared more about what your friends thought of your boyfriend than you thought about, or girlfriend, or whatever your story was, than you did. That it was more about what the peanut gallery thought about your activities, your love life, your beauty, your, physical prowess, than it was about how you felt about it. And I think that might be the unstable new beginning, where now this is really how I feel versus how everybody else will perceive my situation, or lack thereof of situation. I've been single sorry about that. I turned my phone down. I really promise I did, all the way down, and it's on vibrate. I don't know how to do anything more. Let me do one thing I didn't do, which is put it on airplane mode. Sorry. There we go. Airplane mode. Okay, I apologize. You'd think I'd learn things after all these years, huh? Okay. We are going on to our Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I believe that we have our beautiful Saturn is now at 0 degrees, stationing, slowing down, getting ready to make that forward motion where we're going to visit those 0 to 7 degrees again. And I think this is really exciting, because as I've experienced retrogrades as a planet like Saturn, which initially is not easy, it's very restrictive, can feel very limiting, and my personal history being brought up after it's over really bugs me. I'm gonna kind of get over it. So when Saturn brings that up, rather than feeling victimized by it, I'm like, okay, what subtle nuance have I missed? What subtle nuance are you trying to illuminate for me? Because Saturn, I'm tasking you for that reward. So this is where I'm going with this, because Pisces, if you experience the initial, then the retrograde, and now as Saturn moves forward in those 0 to 7 degrees, which is all about the self, because to me, it covers the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh house, which is the lower part of the hemisphere, the experiences I have as an individual that I take into the public eye. So I feel like this is really powerful, because there could be lots of benefit. Oh, I forgot the tarot card. Well, here you go. There's the contemplation. Will I harvest or won't I? So now we're going to start moving forward. You're still in this, what's my next move, Pisces? And it's also about something in the material. And the 7 by nature represents an introspection, an ability to sit and look at a situation from an intellectual place that is not necessarily infused with emotion, so that I can come to a fair conclusion. Our first angel for Pisces is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right for a new venture. Francesca's coming up again. Where will we fall? Into the negative or the positive? Rochelle, the heart chakra. And then Mystique. Okie dokie. Beep. I don't know what's up with me dropping everything. Sorry. All right. Isabella is being joined by Merlin. Some balance is coming in. We've got Francesca being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. Rochelle's being joined by the harmonious wealth card. And Mystique is being joined by the dragon. You know, one of the things about Pisces is, and I'm, you know, when I talk about these things, you know, we're talking in generalities. Each one of you has your own individual chart. And I do not want to make everybody who's a Pisces, rising moon, sun, or stellium feel as if they're always overly compassionate and they're always invisible and it's always about other people and being empathetic. I think very much I want to make this, Saturn is in your first house asking you to be you. I really feel, or offering you an opportunity, not asking, that I kind of railed on that verbiage earlier. It's offering you an opportunity to be really that creative energy that you are, Pisces, to be excited and to be whimsical about your ability to dream and to trust the universe. Because yes, the timing is right for balance. It's balance will bring alchemy. And if you've been contemplating any sort of changes, or even the change, like I don't necessarily want to go to your love life in partnership. I want to go to your partnership with yourself. I feel like this eclipse is really asking you to embrace the beauty of who you are at a very, very deep level, and then to connect with a bigger part of yourself that wants to encourage the physical experience of that beauty of who you are, because there's an opportunity for a rebirth. And yet that feeling of invisibility that can happen sometimes with Pisces, or that feeling of not being, 100% confident that I can execute what it is I want, that can tether you. It can hold you back. So here, Francesca is sort of saying that in order for you to really experience this rebirth, being able to look at where you've been talking a story that doesn't serve you, because now the angels are saying, come from your heart. Come from your heart, where your expansion, your wealth. This is a 7 as well, isn't it? The 34 reduces down to a 7. And here we see this 7, because as I decide what I'm going to do, this decision is based on the heart. And the heart is the strongest energy to kick in the law of attraction that allows the universe to then start to deliver. Because Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, to expect miracles. And what are miracles? Miracles are alignment to your deeper truth that then kicks in the divine laws of the universe. And those laws are as powerful as the law of gravity. And yet they're not as obvious as the law of gravity. So your true power and strength lies in your ability to continue to align to a bigger truth of what you want. And what I think this is if you're contemplating either implementing changes within your work sector. Let's say you worked at McDonald's and now you want to work at a television station, or you want to do something more creative. I'm trying to go from a mundane situation to what might appear to be a more lofty situation. Your ability to bridge that gap with your heart is going to allow you to invite in the experiences that then will require your bravery to step through them. Yes, Pisces does get a lot of attachment with addiction, but I kind of feel like addiction can come in any one of the signs. It may seem more prevalent within Pisces because there's that feeling of invisibility, that feeling of being alone, that feeling of not being seen. But for some reason, my grandmother was a Scorpio sun, and she was quite an alcoholic. And I know she was an alcoholic now because my grandfather was very Saturnian with her, and she was very creative. I'm pretty sure she probably had some Pisces energy as well. And the encapsulating and the limiting of her creativity is what created the addiction. So why I think that Pisces is a sign of we associate with addiction is because there's a timidness in that energy to really push themselves out and say, look at me. And yet at the same time, there's so much in that sign to look at. There's so much beauty. And so this is what I'm hoping to foster on this channel is the vibrations of each one of these signs and the accesses and what they have to offer us, and have us stand in that vibration that represents possibilities, represents Rochelle and the wealth that can come, both in the material and in the heart chakra, because this is harmonious wealth. So that's very exciting. There will be contemplation coming up, and I suspect this will be going on for quite some time, as Saturn is going to be in the sign of Pisces for quite a bit of time. I think this is also an opportunity for my Pisces to implement thoughts that are just and fair to them. So if for some reason you felt invisible in any genre of your life, then your ability to see yourself as visible will start to shift the outside world. Okay, on to our Aries. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All righty. There was so much addiction in my life. My mom was addicted to diet pills, and and the doctor gave it to me. She was probably, one of those first humans that actually got to be a drug addict by the doctor. And then my grandmother was an alcoholic, and that was basically because she was such a creative person. She was a violinist, and she was offered to go with the Los Angeles Philharmonic and to tour. Her parents would not let her, and so her whole life, all of her creativity was repressed. It's kind of tragic. I hope she's reincarnated into a life of full creativity. All right, for my Aries, well, this is a good card. Well, not that there are no good cards, but this is special for my Aries because this is my intuitive coming into connection and into alignment with the part of myself that is outside of the physical. This is really kind of counterintuitive to what we think of as Aries. Aries is the material, physical self. It wants to test its body and to go compete and see how strong it is. And yet here it's being compelled to go inside. How strong are you on the inside? How is your connection to your inner voice? Because I think that the reason that Aries sometimes becomes the warrior is because its inner voice is sort of knocking on a door. And while Aries is trying to listen to their inner voice, they're trying to have other people validate them and their inner voice. And sometimes that might get muddied. I know that sounds kind of strange to say, but when the energy is focused on the physical self is not the audience. And without the audience, the applause of our physical prowess, there's a bit of a muted feeling to its manifestation. So we want to hear the outside applause. Now, what I think is being called forth for my Aries is to recognize your interior voice, the interior applause. Let's see where we're going. I'm kind of curious as an Aries rising myself. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Yvonne. The third is Oceana. And the final is Caressa. This is absolutely about Aries getting into their emotional body without a doubt. Their emotional and spiritual intuitive energy, the inner voice. And actually Aries is very strong with an inner voice because when you're a pioneer, like if you were Lewis and Clark breaking ground in the Louisiana Territory, you get to learn about how the sights and the sounds and to intuit like nature does in order to survive. And yet in these modern times, a lot of that is lost. And also here, what I'm thinking is that when I see the two of the high priestess, I feel very much it's about coming into concert. So this is sort of a yin and a yang, a physical and an intuitive, using them in concert with one another. All right. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Baird. Yvonne is being joined by Merlin. Oceana is being joined by the Hawk. And Caress is being joined by the Protection card. As an Aries rising and a Taurus moon, my history is never far from me. And, and I have habitual ways of being. But now I really think when I look at this, I feel like my Aries are being tasked by their own oversoul, by their own inner voice, to have the courage to look at their history as a tool that made them the powerful being that you're evolving into. I think it's about time to look at how this is my card of vulnerability, and here's balance. And while I never would want to go to anyone, especially my sister or my mother, and say, geez, thank you for being who you are because you helped design me. You gave me the piss and the vinegar to push myself in a direction that was more authentic to me. I never would want to say that to them, but their influence was actually and absolutely that. I remember being a little girl. My mom was super violent. Okay. She beat the crap out of me. My tooth and this tooth in the front, she knocked it out. Every scar I have, every doctor's visit I ever had, my mother had something to do with it. Okay. After I left my mother, my body was not assaulted anymore. But my point is this. I believe that while all those things were true, and I'm still not quite resolved. And I mean, I'm fine with my mother, but, do I still miss a maternal experience and a paternal experience? Yes. But now I believe that what Spirit is asking me is to have the courage to stop telling the old story, to start telling a new story of how I've evolved and what's become of me as a result. It's more like, wow, look what I've created. I created a beautiful home for myself. I've created my own job. I've created my own resources. I've created my own path. I feel like this is what Aries is being asked to do, is don't hang on the old story anymore that just puts you on a cul-de-sac or on a hamster wheel. Now it's time to be vulnerable to your own alchemy, to all the things that were created as a result of maybe something that was not so fun. Because Oceana is offering you an opportunity to speak from your soul and to actually see how you've evolved. And that's the beauty of it, is that you could have been tanked, you could have been defeated, you could have turned into an angry, resentful person who does drink themselves to death, but you didn't. Instead, you became something much greater. And I know you did because you're here watching this material. You're here fighting for yourself, and you're brave. And I think what you're fighting for is a stronger connection to that part of yourself that knows how great you are and how much you have evolved, and that you're not just an aggressive warrior that wants to go beat people up, but you're a peaceful warrior who's willing to stand up for herself or himself. I love the Pam Gregory's take on the asteroid Eris, because while she's relentless, like all Aries energy, and I say that because she's the sister of Mars, she's fights for justice. She fights for the underdog. She's Xena warrior princess. She's Superman on some level. And why I say this is because so are you. And as you, Aries, recognize that, and you stop listening to the stories where people just tell you you're too much, or you're angry, or you're resentful, then you're going to start to feel the divine hand of God as one chapter closes within your heart. That self-loathing or that resentment that's eating your innards alive is going to turn into and manifest into something much sweeter. Because Caressa is saying that you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, and you're being protected because you're starting to be aware of your thoughts. 38 is the master number of thought. Merlin is a 1. The Hawk is an 11. All over this is Aries conquering their thoughts and conquering them, not because they wrestled them to the ground, but because they had the courage to tell a new story. That was then, this is now. And what I tell my clients often is, Teri personally as an Aries rising will always be full of piss and vinegar. She'll always have a sword on her back, ready to pull it out when she needs it. But now she knows when she wants to pull it and when to leave it where it is, in its satchel, safe and sound, because my sword is Excalibur, the sword of my truth. And as you stand in your truth, no one will be able to shake you, and no previous story will pull you under. All right, on to our Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All righty. Oh, isn't this beautiful for my Taurus as we go? And we get the Empress. She is ruled by Venus. You can see the Venus symbol right here, the heart. And we see she's full of abundance. The wheat is growing. She has, in many ways, she's aligned to her mind. Her crown is full of stars. She is aligned to the truth of who she is and where she comes from. She is a divine being. And she sits in ease and reception of that which she wants to receive. The lumbar roll, the blanket, they're all in the color of the base chakra. So everything that she wants to experience within the physical world, she knows comes from her belief system. She knows it comes from her base chakra, and now her confidence to trust that the universe will support her. Now we know that Uranus has been going through the house of Taurus, liberating you for years now, and also creating maybe some unexpected disruptions. And yet those unexpected disruptions, once again, are a divine disruption that offers you new choices, a new perception, a new perspective, and a new experience of your own power. And power is not always about the assertion of the physical body, but the awareness of the mind. And what do I want to do with that mind? And the awareness that the mind is imprinted. There will never, in this lifetime, there will be no clean slate. It's been compiling and collecting information for as long as you've been aware. Okay, Taurus, our first angel is Astera. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. Serena is about money and the ease of money. Bridget is about looking deeper into a belief system and a situation. And here is Ray, the connection to the angelic realm. We see Astera being joined by the protection card. We see Serena being joined by the Grail Knight. We see the Bridget being joined by the Hawk. And finally, we see Ray being joined by the Owl. This is very interesting. So traditionally, we think of Taurus as the quiet one, the one that sort of holds a stoic energy. Taurus likes familiarity. It likes to go at an even pace so it can develop and build trust. And what I want to say here is, to me now, this is an opportunity to build trust with ease. To realize, Taurus is an earth sign. So Taurus is going to tool the soil and nurture the soil and work the land. And within that sort of oxen bullish energy, it feels like I must move. I must take an action in order to make things happen. And very much the Empress is the action is no action. It's not a physical action. It's an emotional and mental action that believes in magic, that trusts alignment, and holds that at the very height of its belief system. Because here, Astera is saying, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And we have the protection card here again, which is a 38, which reduces down to an 11, an opportunity to master my thoughts. And the mastering is never trying to extinguish negative thoughts. The awareness of a negative thought, the awareness of a challenge, the awareness of an old pattern gives you an opportunity to say, well, that was then, and this is now. Because Serena is offering you literally material abundance through your serenity. And so does the Empress, because the Empress rules Venus, and Venus rules money as well as partnership. Now, the Grail Knight here is asking you to bow down to your deepest truth. This sword is going to represent your thoughts. And here, this is really an allegiance, a devotion to your serenity, to your reception of what you need and what you want and what you desire. And I use the word need here because Taurus does have an energy of, I need a sense of security. I want to experience, if we think about the wheel, and Aries is discovering the self, playing, jumping off of cliffs and doing competitions to see how I measure up with other people. And in many ways, that is what Taurus is also, is applying those skills, is applying your what you've learned about yourself. Because in the angel's advice is very much asking you to look deeper into, there's the 11, the signs and the omens that have been coming towards you, that have been affirming and have been confirming your evolution in your belief system, in the belief that if you apply yourself, if you allow your skills and your voice to be heard, that you will thrive and you will flourish. Because now this connection to the angelic realm is where your power lies. And now when I look at this owl, I see that I trust that when I have a divine disruption, it actually empowers me. It gives me an ability to walk through a situation where before it tanked me, or before I behaved in a way I didn't like, or I didn't get the results I wanted. And sometimes Taurus can be stubborn. And I want to do it my way. I want to do it my way. And now, as I've become more aware by seeing the signs and the omens, I see how this situation, this thought process, this dynamic is offering me the landscape for empowerment. So now let's just say that the Empress right now, let's say just on a mundane level, that you have concerns about your finances, and you have an awareness that you have worry about it. Oh man, where will that money come from? Or, oh, I got this big bill coming. And now your ability to stand, here's the Grail Knight. Spirit, thank you so much for giving me an experience that allows for my physical ease and in resources. Spirit, I'm in my human body. I'm not used to experiencing ease. I'm not used to talking to air and expecting something to happen. So give me an experience that anchors that in. And that's where your foundation will start to be built. This is a 13, which reduces down to a 4. So as you become more aware, Taurus, of the ebb and the flow, you create a stronger foundation so that when you're in an ebb, the flow is coming. And you take advantage of the rest. You have a good meal. You sit down and you enjoy yourself. Maybe you do the crossword puzzle, or you watch one of your favorite shows and you're like, I'm good. I'm going to sit in ease and allow Spirit to give me a new experience that empowers me as I continue to talk from my heart. I've been doing my work here from home, working for myself for almost 9.5 years now. And I still have days when, people don't inquire and I think, oh, I'm never going to book again. There'll never be another client. Oh, no. And then I kind of giggle at myself. And I say, well, I know better than that. This is just one of those human moments I'm having. And then I distract myself. And then Spirit, then I tell Lucky I'm going to give him a bath. And Lucky books like 20 people. Okay. Because Lucky doesn't like baths. So whenever I get into scarcity, I say, Lucky, let's go take a bath. And the phone rings or an email comes through. It's kind of funny. All right, we're going on to our Geminis. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh, gosh, a lot of major arcana cards coming up. Justice. This is a 9. And the 9 very much is the end and the completion of a cycle before we go into a new beginning. And when I look at this Justice card, oh, it's not a 9. It's an 11. Sorry, I was looking at it backwards. But it makes it even more powerful as an 11. Because as an 11, it represents that thought, that master number of thought. All right, let's see where we're going, Gemini. Our first angel is Patience. The second is Athena, and the third is Ariel. And the final is Ray again. Patience is being joined by the king. Athena is being joined by the mystery card. Ariel is being joined by the cat. And Ray is being joined by the truth. This is very much, between the justice card and the king, there's very much could potentially be things where there's a sense of, I could say the legal system, but I don't think everybody's going to be in a lawsuit. But there's something that makes me feel as if the structures in your life, the rules, the regulations, the bosses, the landlords, the banks, the people that have influence over us. Some, I guess our employers would have more personal, but each one of us is aligned to a structure of some kind, a community that has rules, a job that has rules, a family that has rules. Somewhere here, it feels as if my Geminis are going through a situation where those authorities, those situations are, how do I want to put it? I want to say being rebirthed in some way. And that doesn't necessarily mean that something is ending, but it could be reframed. It could be renovated on some level. Because when I look at the king and I go with the justice card, the patience card is asking Gemini to be observant of their own thoughts, their own ways of being, their own having an ability on some level to be an observer in your life, gathering information, which Gemini does so well. There's a feeling of here, it doesn't feel like I should take action. It almost feels as if when I'm garnishing information, that information is that things will be just and fair. It isn't necessarily my job to try to implement that, but to make the choice to trust the universe to work on my behalf. Because Athena is about lovingly asserting yourself. This mystery card is about a choice, and the choice is to trust spirit to bring in the healthy boundaries and a sense of independence that Gemini so very much wants. And when I say independence, it feels very much as if that independence is feeling the flow of whatever resources you need, whether it be money, whether it be family support, whether it be friends, whatever resources you need, because there is a deeper truth coming up for my Geminis. And I think that deeper truth is really an ability to speak more succinctly about what you want for you versus maybe going back and forth. That twin idea that, well, I found this out, but this, with the Gemini energy, it's kind of interesting to me because, every Gemini is a little bit different, but there's a contemplative energy there. There's a this or that energy. There's a either or energy. And here, what I feel like is that inadvertently, maybe in the past, Gemini has defaulted to what feels like the safe choice. And here it feels like the just choice is coming in. That there's the potential that Gemini has been working super hard, been, super innovative in their work environment or within their environment in some way, and yet there has been a lack of reward. There's been a lack of evidence of your efforts. And here I feel like now it's time and an opportunity for you to align to the universe with those rewards. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to receive more independence. I'm ready to receive more bounty. I'm ready to receive more free time. More time for play, more time for rest, more time for frivolity. And that is just and fair, because as you do that, then it gives you more energy to move forward in things that might be where you're providing service or providing a service, a task, a dynamic to others. That's the way I want to put it. This eclipse that we just had was conjunct Mercury. Mercury was at 17 degrees. And I say that because your ruling planet is Mercury. The 17th degree is the Leo degree. And the Leo degree is about fun. It's about entertainment. Yes, it's about, high school, and it's about romance, and it's about creativity. But here I kind of want to focus in on fun. I want to focus in on entertainment. I want to focus in on coming from your heart, a new beginning, this This eclipse was conjunct Spica, the voice of angels. And, to me, the angelic realm would be encouraging you to put your heart forward, to put your wants and desires forward, to allow them to be an experience that invites others to do the same. And so I really want to offer that to my Geminis, that while you may not feel like this, obviously the eclipse would trine you, but also having your ruling planet so close to it at the degree of fun, at the degree of entertainment, at the degree of joy and laughter and comedy and all things fun are under the sign of Leo. The other signs are a little bit challenged with that, even if they represent creativity. So I think there's something about a deeper truth of getting out and about and having a good time and doing things that you think are, I don't know, things that make you laugh, belly laugh. That's where I want to go, a deep belly laugh for my Geminis, because that is a vibration that actually does shift energy. All right, let's go into our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stellium. Thank you, small wildflowers. All right, for my Cancers, this is very much the have and the have not card. The Six of Pentacles is a card where it's interesting to me because I very much note that this guy is in a blue tunic. This guy's in an orange tunic. This guy's getting money. This guy's still begging. This guy's self-talk is one of poverty. This guy's self-talk is all about his wants and desires. The sacral chakra is located in your, in the area where if you're a female, it's your ovaries. It's the same basics, below the stomach, above the groin, and it always represents your wants and desires. And so here, I believe that this is talking about the laws of attraction, that this particular character is better at continually speaking of that which what he wants, and this character is continually speaking of that which he does not want. Let's see where we're going, Cancer. Because inadvertently, Pluto, in those late degrees, those of you who are late born Cancers, you're still feeling that opposition. And opposition is something outside of yourself that's creating a tension, an obstacle, something that's like a tug of war. And if indeed part of it is you feeling like, you're always holding the short stick and you believe in the laws of attraction, the focus on the short stick is creating more short stick. All right, our first angel is Aurora. Boy, she showed up a lot today. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Akasha. And the final is Caressa. Aurora is being joined by the Joy card. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the butterfly. Akasha is being joined by the horse. And Caressa is being joined by the high priestess. I find it so interesting how, we've got three water signs. We've got Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. And Cancer and Pisces very much is all about, other people. So is Scorpio, but in a different vibration. Cancer nurtures, Cancer heals. And so sometimes, when you're the one who nurtures and heals, the focus is on the sickly, not on the healer, lack of a better term. The reason I bring all of this up, because Scorpio is so powerful in its water. It is very much self-focused, co-ruled by Mars, and yet the other two signs are very much outwardly focused, and in doing so, almost an invisibility to their own selves. And the reason I say that is because I kind of feel like for my Cancers, it's time to make yourself a have instead of a have not. I feel like Aurora is saying, you're flying high right now, but I don't know if she's saying that about you. I think what she's asking you to do is fly high in your joy, not to look to others to join you in your joy. I mean, yes, of course, we want playtime, fun, yes, but maybe putting yourself first, what you want, what you need, rest, relaxation, a good meal, a flu bomb, a little onion on your feet, whatever you need to take care of you. And while that may feel disruptive on some level to those around you and even to yourself, it is imperative on some level in order for this balance that this is offering to come into play. Because Grace and Antoinette is asking you to have compassion for yourself as you go through a transformation to see your own beauty. The butterfly is a process similar to that of the dragonfly. And if we think about the last couple of years, a dragonfly takes 2 years to transform from the nymph to the dragonfly. And these last few degrees of Capricorn that have been opposing Cancer have been very, very powerful. If we think, 2-3 years when Pluto was, having a conversation in 2020 up in Capricorn, blowing up some structures that had been implemented for over 100 years. And now what we're seeing is this, you having compassion for self as your beliefs are shifting. Your beliefs about your responsibilities, about the idea of self-care being an important ingredient in order to really care for others. Because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you. And here I have the High Priestess again. Now I could look at this as an intuitive energy, yes, but here I just keep seeing her. And I don't know why I'm so focused on her boobs, but I am. And I feel like this is mother's milk. This is nurturing. And this self-care is so important in order to create a dynamic that shifts your experience here on a more regular and consistent basis. When I look at the 6 again, I see the gentleman who's bestowing his money with green shoes on, representing my heart chakra. His green boot is turned towards the guy who is focused on his wants and desires. And to me, this is so important. Your wants and desires are important. And this guy here is talking about not getting what he needs. So I feel like this is an opportunity. The 37 reduces down to a 10, which is a new beginning of thought, a thought that where the joy goes, so does my heart. And as you do that, it doesn't mean you're not going to care for those around you. But I think that there's a feeling of, we talk about the crab crawling sideways. And I feel like this is an opportunity for, rather than too much more back and forth, really getting some forward motion starting from the inside out. Meaning my joy is happening, my joy is important. The things that bring me joy, the sitting down and watching my soap opera, I'm not going to feel guilty about it. There's certain things that we enjoy that we literally feel like other people's opinions get to chime in as to whether or not we're smart. I remember I went through this whole phase where I knew a bunch of people who wouldn't watch TV. Now, everybody who watches my channel knows I watch a ton of television. And, I live alone. It's my companion. But I love television. And it's also a great place where spirit gives me my messages. They use that file cabinet. So I feel like this for my Cancers is about your own individual joy, your own individual fun, your own individual entertainment, your own individual happiness. And as you start to chime the story that I am a have instead of a have not, I have, I get plenty of nurturing because I start to give it to myself. And in doing so, that inadvertently draws people in that want to contribute to my nurturing, contribute to my well-being, contribute to my happiness, contribute and appreciate what I bring to the table. Then things will start happening. And I want to say this too, because I've got plenty of clients who say, I'm doing all that. I'm doing all that. And if you say that, I'm doing that, and you've got frustration underneath it, then your alignment is off. Then your frustration is superseding your alignment. And your surrender to your frustration will allow the universe to bring something in so much faster than you could even imagine. Okay, on to our Leos. We have the Hermit, a time of reflection and illumination. Things slow down a little bit in the Hermit's energy. It's got strong Saturn and Virgo energy going on here. This can represent the Virgo energy of work. It also represents this time of, I mean, we look at the coldness and we see the Saturn energy and we see Father Time basically here. And this is interesting too, because it's one of the first times we see a staff or a wand without any verbiage. I'm sorry, not verbiage, without any foliage on it. And I think this is a time of winter here, a time of review, reflect, reevaluation on some level. And here we see the 9. The 9 is the completion of a cycle, the offering of a new beginning through the illuminations that have been garnished. So let's see for our Leos, because you did a lot of work or potential work. I hate the word. Some of these words sometimes feel so dense. When Venus was going through your house, it was giving you an opportunity to really look into your self-worth, into your money, into your beauty, into your relationships, and how you romance, how you have fun. And now I think there's an opportunity here to take what you have garnished from that, where the illumination has come in, where the reflection has given you maybe a new direction potentially. Let's see. Our first angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Akasha. And the final is Isabella. Now I'm thinking that reflection is going to give you peace. Let's look and see. I look at Shanti and there's a lion on it, Leo. And the lion is just calm. He's just sitting there sort of looking at that sheep. I'll show you in a second. Hold on. Shanti is being joined by the communications card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Akasha is being joined by the King. And Isabella is being joined by the Letting Go card. I really think that the Hermit here is offering self-reflection, offering a self-reflection that allows you to come to a conclusion or come to some sort of enlightenment. Conclusion is the best word I can come up with, because your peace may be very, very important to you. And when we look at this lion, the lion is calm. The lion is almost looks like he's about to fall over and go to sleep. And Shanti represents peace and tranquility. And then here's the communications card. This feels as if your mind calms, as if there is a part of you that understands that in order for you to truly come to some sort of enlightenment, then it's about digging deeper and deeper into your own co-creation of your disruption. Where is your focus, Leo? Because the Lady of the Lake is asking for self-respect and the courage to have it, and the bravery to not villainize yourself for any unknowing that you may have, lack of awareness that perpetrated disruption on you that then allows you to come to a conclusion, because this is about protection and courage. And the courage is really to recognize that you're a co-creator, because Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and here is the King, and you are a co-creator with Spirit. Here you are, the King of the beasts, the lion, and here is Spirit co-creating with you. And at the end of the day, we have Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And then we see this letting go card. It's never about letting go for me. It's about distance and fear. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do, Leo, to test my limits to break through. And that comes because I now recognize that I'm not going to blow through the situation, but I'm going to intend my way through it. And that's where we start to recognize that fear is an empowerment tool. Fear is the very thing that gives us the resources to let us know that we have evolved, to let us know that we are stronger than we know we are, to let us know that we're more powerful and more secure and safe than we ever thought we were. So I think that this period of time, at least this week and moving forward, because we're going to go into another eclipse on the 28th. So whatever has been illuminated or will continue to be illuminated for you during this next, I want to say 6 months, because again, there was this eclipse in the sign of partnership on the conjunct the voice of the angels. And I believe the partnership is in concert with your higher self, in connection with a bigger part of yourself, with your angelic team, and then starting that to be your base of operation versus your human body. And I think this is now, the timing is right for you to incorporate your fears and to look at them as a device for your empowerment. That's the way I want to say it. Okay. Here we go. On to our final sign, our Virgos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And we have, Virgo's going to like this. New resources are coming in, right? God is going to hand to you something in the material world, and it's going to help facilitate your journey to your garden of dreams, your field of dreams. Let's see where we're going. Picked up the wrong deck first. I believe that Venus has moved into Virgo. Let me check really quick, because that could have some effect on, I don't know if I can. Hold on. Let me take this off of that. Go here. Current chart. Venus has moved. She's now at 6 degrees of Virgo. Okay, good. Because this makes me feel like there could potentially be, for my Virgos, some new infusion of material resources that help you or facilitate you in some way. Our first angel is Aurora. Second is Seraphina. The third is Chantal. And the final is the Patience card. Aurora is being joined by the cat. Seraphina is being joined by the fear card. Chantal is being joined by the restriction card. And Patience is being joined by the trust card. All right. So aces always bring the infusion of an energy. It's the beginning of something. It's not the manifestation of it. When we see the Ace of Pentacles, we're not looking at big money. We're not looking at big material resources yet. It's the hand of God offering inspirations about this subject. So here we see the cat offering 9 lives, a sense of independence. And then we have Aurora here saying you're flying high right now. I want to offer this because when I look at that flying high, it feels a little bit more as if it's an emotional issue versus an actual material issue. So there's a part of you that's starting to see a new life coming for you, or a new beginning of some kind, a new opportunity. And I want to offer it this way because it may have something to do with your health or how you're perceiving your health. And when I talk about health, I'm not just talking about your physical body, cough, cough. I'm talking about your stress. I'm talking about your mental body. I find it interesting that on the Pisces Virgo axis, we attribute mental illness to Pisces, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune. And yet Mercury rules Virgo. So I think that there's a lot more mental stress and pressure sort of in the Virgonian energy to be perfect, to do a good job, to make sure you're going through the right processes, the right analyzations, or whatever that word is I'm trying to say, in order to be valuable to others. You know, you're the sign of service. So here I'm thinking cats, think a lot about themselves. This is really about you in many ways, very much about you giving life to what you need for you. I'm really going to the cats have 9 lives because Seraphina talks about a happy family, and there's the fear card. So it made me feel as if there could be trepidations or concerns about how those you love and who are in your tribe will perceive whatever you're wanting to do that is independent of them or no longer appears to be of service to them. Because in the angel's advice, there's something about Virgo restricting their own sense of love, self-love. This does not feel like it's about other people's love. And I almost feel like if Virgo allows themselves to take a leap of faith, that's what what Aurora would say, that it will pay off so well that you'll be surprised. And I feel like this would be sort of a little bit of implementing your spiritual practices. So Abraham has a exercise called segment intending, where you're about to walk into a situation, a dynamic. Let's say you're going to a family event, or you're going to, go to a work meeting or something, and you're aware enough in the moments before that starts to intend how you will feel, how you will perceive, how you will respond. You're still flexible, but you're having an intention to extract the highest vibration from the situation. That's what I believe is going on here, that you may have trepidations and fears about how your family will respond, that you're afraid that somehow, if you're not of service to others and doing for others, that love will be restricted. But at the same time, here in the final position is this patience card and the truth card, the trust card. The trust card is a 47. The 47 reduces down to 11. Again, the master number of thought. What do you rule? Thought. But you don't rule long thought, you rule little thought. Not meaning little thought, meaning short bits of information. Short bits of information can be fear producing until we dig deeper into them, because this is about studying, gathering information, and learning and assessing, and then trusting how you process that thought. And I believe that you're going to get offered something, at least if not in the material world, there'll be an idea that pops up that you can implement or start to implement in the material world that will start to bring something that feels more pleasant for you. And yet there is a risk factor involved, because the risk is these people over here expect something from me, and I've been delivering this pretty much regularly and not wobbling or fighting it too much. And now I'm starting to want to put me first, and that might create a wobble over here. Well, if it creates a wobble over here, it's a little bit of the of what spirit is offering you. Is that false evidence appearing real? Is it time to face everything and rise? If you're taking care of you, maybe you will actually make better relationships with those around you, or you'll be fostering something because you'll be in a better place physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And if for some reason this all plays out where your stress level is up to here, and you're like, I got to check out for a while, I got to just disengage for a while, at least as best I can, to recalibrate. Trust that process. Trust that process, because that process will actually create a better dynamic, or a more favorable dynamic moving forward. Is that physical move, like you get to move, like your landlord has given you notice, or you're ready to move and you're offering that up? Because small wildflowers, I want to offer, the more you can contemplate about the property and how it feels and what you want, and affording you all the wiggle room you want for expansion within that new property, spirit can bring things that will be magical. And I say that because it is when you deal with an earth sign, and spirit brings magic to an earth sign, and they're even kind of, wow, I can't believe that happened. It's really, truly of service to all the other people who are earthbound at the time. Anyway, I try to do this show as quickly as possible so y'all aren't sitting here on your Sunday afternoon all day long. But apparently it's just a 2-hour show, because I talk a lot. God bless me. All right, well, I think we're done for today. You have to. I mean, I get to. Rent is, oh, yeah, I get it. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was great to have so many wonderful energies in the room. I'm sending you all love, and I really, really want to encourage you to connect with your team, to use this eclipse as an open door to an even more palatable and concrete relationship with your team outside of body, so that you feel the flow of conversation with them and the trust of their input. And if you feel like you're unsure that you're actually hearing your team, then you just ask them to give you 3 signs. 3. That way it's not a coincidence, it's not an anomaly, it is an actual message. All right, everybody, have an amazing week. I'll see you next Sunday. I'll be a little bit older. Maybe I'll get a little grayer. I keep wondering when this gray is going to come in all the way, but we'll see. Anyway, look forward to seeing you next week. Sending lots of love to you. Peace out. What am I doing? Peace out. My thumbs aren't working anymore. All right, everybody. See you later.